Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being, having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multidimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Welcome back to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. I'm here with my husband, David Buck, who is my co-host. We are so happy that you're here today, one day before Christmas Eve. So this is Christmas Eve day.
Eve.
Eve, yes. Yeah. So I'm so glad you're here. We are going to talk about today how we are spirit partners for life. In this day and age, in 2021, with everything happening, and with everything happening, it feels really, really important that we ground today and really center into our hearts. So if you will please take a moment with us and just disconnect from whatever you're doing at this moment, unless, of course, you're driving. We want you to be safe and drive. But if you can pause for a moment and just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just listen to my voice as we prepare for this wonderful hour together. Creator of all that is, the one who lives and breathes within all things, we thank you for our lives, and we thank you for this day. We thank you for this specific moment in time that we have all gathered right now to breathe deeply, to remember who we are and why we are here. Remember that we have all chosen to be in physical form in a human body. And sometimes it's a challenge, and sometimes it's rough. And so we now ask that all of the angels, guides, and teachers that walk with each of us come into this moment right now and hold the space for our own transformation, our own personal journeys that are sacred to us, each individually and us collectively as a humanity. We ask that each of us get to the place of remembering this particular path that we have each chosen to be here right now. And we ask to be guided in why we've come together for this particular time on the Empower Me Show, and what we're here to learn individually and collectively. Hena sana heia na ya we ya yeruna gela ne na he na ya he na ya we ya yama he ya na ye he ya we ya we hey. Thank you. We are back. We are so glad you're here.
So 2 days before Christmas, and we here at the Empower Me Show, and Pam and myself, we celebrate Christmas. And growing up, that is what I thought was appropriate to do. We just go around and say Merry Christmas to people. And I didn't understand that there was a much larger picture going on. So we want to wish you happy holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate, including if you abstain from celebrating the holidays. regardless of all of that, this is one of the most challenging times of year. Some people say it's the most wonderful time, and others say bah humbug. And it's easy to go back and forth between those two extremes. And and navigating through the difficulties of the season and trying to remember that there's still a spiritual solution out there. There's still spirit guides that are available to help guide you. So that can provide your own tidings of comfort and joy.
Yes, indeed. So with knowing that we have all of the support that we will ever need, one of the things that David and I practice is using spiritual cards as messages to us. And of course, the angels wanted to come and be with us today. And so we chose 2 angel cards so that David and I both can get centered in who we are and who we are here for you as, and also to give you a sense of peace, a sense of really grounded solution. That is our hope for you. So the one that I picked is called the Page of Air. It is about logic, honesty, curiousness, and our impulsivity. So being in the moment. What is yours?
Well, I want to say something to you. You were saying right before the show, all we have is this moment. It's really true. If you're listening or seeing this, you've made it this far. A couple more days till a major holiday here in the U.S. anyway, and you can keep on making it this far. And we encourage you to reach out in any way that you can, especially during these challenging times, to friends, family, or your spirit guides. But the one I've got here is Life Experience for Archangel Chamuel. And this is the card. It's a little hard to see at the moment. This is from an Angel Tarot deck. And just in case you didn't know, there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of different tarot or spirit guide decks out there. I'd encourage you to look. You can find them on Amazon, and they're not that expensive. Find one that works for you, because this has been a source of daily inspiration to us. It says a significant life event. We are going through significant life events right now with the pandemic. There's a snowstorm coming where we are that's going to shut down this entire region for maybe a couple of weeks. And we're just, there's generational things going on. It's been a very challenging year. And then there's, of course, the pandemic, a perfect revelation that leads to change and time to spread your wings. It's always time to spread your wings. Mm-hmm. And, what I find about that is that without even knowing it, I've realized over time, sometimes in my life, I've discovered I've forgotten I even have wings, so they can spread. Mm-hmm. So it's always a good reminder.
Mm-hmm. So David mentioned that his card is talking about challenging times. Challenging times. Well, this is challenging information is what this says. So delays or changes to your plans, truth delivered without tact. So sometimes when we have information that needs to be shared with family members or friends, or even information sometimes from our guides have our best interest always for us, but sometimes they're really direct, and it takes us off guard. Like, wait, I wasn't planning for that. I wasn't planning for that email. I wasn't planning for that phone call. I wasn't planning for that guy to just cut me off on the road. I wasn't planning for these events in my life that seem to be taking me off of my balanced place. How do we navigate that? What do we do with that, where we feel like we're being pulled here and pulled there and swayed here and swayed there? And we're supposed to be Zen, right? Because we're spiritual beings. Well, guess what, folks? We are spiritual beings having a human experience, which means that every single emotion that exists as a human being, you get to experience in this lifetime.
And all those twists and turns and course corrections you talk about, all those happenstances and accidents and yes, and just the circumstances come up. One perspective on that is you're already being guided. And you might say, well, how could you be guided down into the gutter? Because sometimes it could feel like we go down into the gutter, and it's so you can come back up again. And so when you expand your awareness and perspective on those events, those twists and turns, those slips and falls, sometimes literally, to include, well, I'm being guided this way or against that way, it opens up a lot of comfort, I think.
Yes. So one of the things that I notice in our family, because David and I are spirit partners for life, we have chosen that path, is that we have a certain way that we think life's going to go. And we, especially my dear husband, has plans. Okay. And he makes his plans very specifically. Now, I got the logic card. I'm not sure why I got the logic card, because he's very logical in his way. However, sometimes when someone is so focused on it's got to be this way, and this is the plan, and then creator says, not quite so. We're going to go over here and we're going to give you a little U-turn. And we're going to bring this guide in and this particular challenge in to course correct. Sometimes in our lives, we run up against that, either individually or as a couple, as we navigate the world of an elder parent, which we are dealing with. We have several of them, my mom and dad and David's mom. And we're dealing with the banking system, and we're dealing with insurance, and we're dealing with this challenge and that challenge, and this system and that system that may not be necessarily working correctly, which is a lot of the time. We have to be willing to support each other in the middle of our judgments. And I definitely have my own judgments that show up. And that's why I do things like use sound
for grounding or clearing,
right?
And cleansing.
And we use crystals. Crystals are great grounders as well, to hold the energy that we need to release. And we ask the crystals to take the excess. We use cards, spiritual cards like this, to help us to release and get new information that we may not have had. We allow ourselves to course correct. And when we can't course correct, that's when we ask our spirit guides, teachers, and angels to step in and help us.
Yeah, we're going to take a break in a moment here, but I just want to pick up on that again. And we use the cards absolutely for information. If we're considering something, if there's a decision that's got to be made, if you just want to know which way to go, or you're lost in some way, pick up one of the cards. And every single time I've ever done that, it gives me the right information that I need to know. Whether I understand it at that time, maybe I come back to it later that day, I go, okay, well, that's what that meant. But it's an invitation for your spirit guides to communicate more directly with you. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back and in a couple of minutes. Power Me Show with Pam Bright. I'm David Buck. I'm Pam's husband, and we are celebrating the holidays here, whatever holiday you celebrate. For us, it's just 2 days to Christmas, major U.S. holiday here. And I've always felt like, well, first, when growing up, Christmas was about presents, of course, because that's what kids focus on. And then I started learning a little bit more about Jesus Christ, and realizing that the lyrics behind some of my favorite Christmas songs really celebrate the connection that we have with a higher power as we understand it. And, I got a little older and started expanding my horizons in terms of spirituality and finding out about other religions and spiritual practices, that there's a lot of similarities. In fact, from what I've seen, there are many more similarities than differences between them. And yet we go to war over it all the time. And I think that's unnecessary when we're celebrating a connection to something greater than we are here, and allowing that guidance to come in and help us move along.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, there are a lot of differences, and a lot of wars are fought because of differences of opinion in the world. And boy, oh boy, if we aren't dealing with a lot of differences of opinion in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's all over the media, it's all over the internet, it's all over, maybe even in your own family, you're having a challenge with the differences of opinion. And really, the choice comes down to, what are you going to do this second, right now? Because right now is all there is. See, right now, it's already gone. So when you get up against it, right? And this is the time of year when the stress is high. When you get up against it, you can use some of our tools that we've been teaching you, which is stop, pause, breathe, and listen. I keep coming back to that because it's so vital. Our breath is what connects us to who we are. Our breath is what connects us to our connection to a higher power. Whether or not you believe there's a God or a Jesus or a Buddha or anything else, it's your breath that's going to connect you with the essence of you. You are not just a physical body. You are a physical body with emotions and beliefs and convictions and values, and all kinds of different pieces of you come into this puzzle called a human being.
I think for me, if I had to boil down spiritual messages into two ideas, and there's so much more, it would be that there's something greater than myself that is available. So I'm not alone. And the other one is it twists it a little bit, which is to say that you're in the right place at the right time, especially if you don't feel like that, because it's the world and how things are unfolding, and the progress of your life as it goes provides you the opportunities to make choices. And we think in our brains, well, okay, I can't do that again or whatever. But from a spiritual perspective, you're being guided towards those opportunities to choose to go one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. So the angels are wanting me to continue to bring them in. So they just did that again. So where's your card? Your card is, okay, Archangel Chamuel. Now, I don't know a lot about him, so I'm just going to ask him to come in this moment.
I'm going to hold up
Yep. There we go. I'm going to bring him in, and then I'm also going to bring in the Page of Air, who is another guardian for us, because they want to be here now so that they can speak through us to you. And the way that quote unquote channeling goes is that we allow ourselves to be open to whatever spiritual messages want to come through. So I'm just going to allow them to enter, right? And they're just going to share with you whatever comes through for you right now. So we ask Archangel Chamuel now to come in and really gift us with your presence and share with us, what message do you have for these beautiful people that are listening to this broadcast, and for Pam and David as we go through this holiday season? sharing with our community the fullness of who we are as spiritual beings having human experiences. We also ask the page of air, the one who reminds us to breathe, reminds us that without air, we don't exist. We ask that being to also enter into this space and share with us what you have to teach us. And I'm aware of how important it is to ask for help, even if you don't know what you're asking or who you're asking. Simply saying, please help. So in this moment of quiet, those of you who are listening, just say, please help me. And if you have a specific need, say it out loud. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're back. Welcome back. So I wanted to bring in the angels because the angels are guardians for you. The angels watch over us human beings. The angels come in often for those that are ready to transition. So if you are one of those people or you know people that are ready to transition, the angels are on standby for you. So allow them to come into this moment and allow that transition to take place lovingly and with peace.
Today is going to be a little more like a holiday variety show. And when we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit about traditions and provide a technique for you, especially when those traditions and events may not go exactly as planned, and some things that you can do. So we're continuing to celebrate the holidays here. Whatever holiday you're celebrating, we wish you a merry one, or however that is said in your culture. And we're going to take a break. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Welcome back to the Empower Me show with Pam Bright. I'm David Buck. I'm Pam's husband. And we're talking about the holidays right now, a couple of days away from Christmas here, a major U.S. holiday. And what do you do when traditions and events don't go exactly as planned? Because as many things that are going to go right in the next few days, there'll be plenty of things that don't go as planned. So my invitation to you is twofold. One, just do this for yourself. It's really a great responsibility that each person has to observe and learn for themselves. And yet we have a tendency to try and help point out things to other people. So I would encourage you to avoid that tendency if you have it this time around. But observe for yourself. Look for the moments that are funny. Look for the silver linings. Look for the lessons. Look for don't get too caught up in all the frustration if you can, because you'll get past it sooner than it seems. And it's a challenge. It's a daily struggle sometimes, especially when so many things are up in the air, and there's the expectations are so high as well.
Do you have any expectations that have gotten awry this year?
Constantly. So, and it's frustrating, and it's part of the human experience. And yet with a spiritual program and base and partners, that you can check yourself against all of those things and say, okay, I'm safe now. I'm okay. I will get through this. I'll get to the other side.
Yeah. So really, it's an invitation to look at what's most important to you from moment to moment to moment, right? With all of the hubbub around the holidays, especially for those in the world of Christmas, there's a lot of expectations around Christmas. So really check that for yourself about what are you expecting other people to do? How are you expecting yourself to show up? And how are you bringing your stress higher than it really needs to be in this second. Okay. Because you are the one that's in charge of your own stress. So if you're in a situation where you're feeling your heart rate really high, you're feeling that you're getting angry, you're feeling like you're about to burst because you can't handle another second of whatever it is, then you are the one that's in charge of backing yourself down and bringing your stress down. Mm-hmm. And if you need to take a time out, like we had the children do as youngsters, then you take a time out, because nothing is worth you losing your head over. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there's a thing about the timeout. It can take less time than you think. One of the spiritual practices we talk about throughout our show and throughout our programs is just simply stop, breathe, ask, what do I need right now? What do I need right now? And wait a moment for the answer and trust that answer as it comes.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm going to share with you guys as real as I can in every episode. So I want to bring you up to speed with us because it's important for us to be real with you. So I've mentioned that David and I have aging parents that are challenged in one way or the other. And many of you also have loved ones that have challenges. And with this ongoing, it seems like this forever pandemic that's going on, some of the places are shutting down again in lockdown. And I just found out from my sister, who went to Vegas to see my brother and his family and my mom and dad, that the senior center that my mom and dad are at is in lockdown again. So they may not be able to see mom and dad for Christmas, which is sad, right? It's very sad. And many of you are experiencing sadness this Christmas. So I want you to allow yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling, because guess what? The more that you honor your feelings in whatever they are, mad, sad, glad, or wish that you weren't had, the more that you honor that, the more that you can have health in your body, the more that you can have a smoother experience of living, and the more that you can transition into the next experience. Because if you don't allow yourself to honor your feelings, like if I'm mad and I'm raging and I'm not honoring that, guess what? It gets turned inward because I'm not allowing myself to express it. So then it turns into resentment. And then everybody around me is affected by that. Mm. So allow yourself to shift that in this second to, I honor my feelings. I honor who I am, even if I don't like the feeling that I'm feeling.
And you can look to your feelings as another source of guidance, honestly. Mm-hmm. We can't control our feelings. We can control our actions. We can control how we process and interpret our feelings. And they'll come up, in the pit of your stomach, and your heart is racing. And, but then there's also the calm feeling. It's like when there's snow falling, and there's snow falling in many places and will be coming soon to your area, perhaps. It's like listening. If you go outside and you listen when it's snowing, you hear almost nothing. There's a wonderful quietude in those moments. And if you can, even if you've got a strong emotion, try to imagine that snow falling, the sound of snow falling for a moment in there, and ask, what do I need? What does this mean for me now?
Yeah. So as often happens in these episodes, I'm guided to, okay, now it's time for us to go within again. And I'd like us to really check in with, what are you feeling right now? What are you up against? Do you feel like you're up against something big that you have been struggling with? What is it that you feel like you have to let go of? Because if you don't, it's going to eat you up. What is it that you're afraid of? What is it that if you embraced it, you would feel so much better? Just check in. See what's going on with you. Are you up against an illness? Are you up against the loss of a loved one? Whatever you're feeling right now is absolutely 100% your experience. Allow yourself to say, I accept wherever I am right now as exactly the way it's supposed to be. Allow yourself to say yes to support. Allow yourself to move from one feeling to another, because you are exactly who you're meant to be, who you get to be, and that will set you up for who you will be in the next moment.
Yeah, it's interesting when you can take the time sometime. And right now, the holidays right before they begin isn't necessarily the best time. It's a great time for reflection, but when you can, perhaps plan something for yourself in the next year. Take some time and look at the course of your life. Reflect a bit about the journey you've been on and how far you've come. You're still here, and that is something to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question for you, David. So this just came in. So when we say that we are spirit partners for life, we actually chose that title for this particular episode. And this, at this time of the month, we do Spirit Partners for Life together. What is your thought about that? What does that mean for you right now? And how can that be shared with these beautiful people that are listening?
Well, I have to go back to the very beginning of our relationship over 20 years ago. And when we recognized in each other a spiritual base, not that it's the right thing to do or the only thing to do, but it's one of life's journeys that you could include as part of your journey. And for me, I feel like it's only strengthened over the years. It's not as if we haven't had our struggles individually and together, but we're still together and we're still here, and we're even more spiritual than ever, which is a strange statement to say, because one of the things you talk about a lot is divine timing. And so if you come, that things happen when they happen for a reason in the sequence of events in your life. And if you come to believe in divine timing, you can easily see it's always been true. It's not as if, well, it just became true for me on Tuesday when I started to believe in it. It's as if you were guided to that moment all along. And that's something I've taken from you. So I feel like when I say more spiritual, it's sort of a deeper connection to all these things. What about you?
Well, yeah. So the connection that I remind us always of is that we are spiritual beings first. We're spirit first. So when I say spirit, I'm talking about God. So God or universe or universal intelligence, the thing, the entity, the beingness of myself that connects me to you and connects me to the world, connects me to a sense of purpose. I wasn't just dropped here into a physical body.
Right. And I can bring it down to, if you have trouble grasping such a galactic or wide view of things, it's your soul. It's the spark of life within you. It's your consciousness. It's your ability to to think, and it's this thing that's ineffable. It's nothing that any scientist or any psychologist or any spiritual practice can exactly put their finger on, because it's only you.
Yeah. So yes, and we are each individually our own self that has chosen to come into this form called self. And going back to why do we call ourselves, having this episode be the Spirit Partners for Life? When I first met David, this was before I even met him, I had the desire to have a life partner that would share with me this spiritual journey. And I didn't even know yet how this spiritual journey was going to unfold. I just knew that I wanted to be with someone who was deep, who was heart-based, who really wanted to make a difference in the world. And of course, when we're looking for our mate or our loved one, we have all these particulars about the way he should look and how he should feel and how he should say, and, all the things, right? Well, I had this deep yearning for somebody that would help me to be more of myself. And I wasn't able to put that into words necessarily at the time, but David came along at a time when he didn't fit me. He fit for me all of the love that I had, but he didn't fit into my world of that it was a good time, right? Because I had these things that were happening in my life that weren't supposed to be at the same time as when he came into my life. So I had judgment about that, but I had a strong desire. And I had a strong desire for a connection with a higher power as well. So they came in together, and this higher power started working with this Spirit Partners for Life concept that we have been able to grow into together.
Yeah. And it's really, for us, it's a commitment to each other and to ourselves, and as spiritual beings having human experiences. We're going to take a break in a moment here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about something you can look forward to after the holidays, what comes after the holidays. So we'll be right back here on the Empower Me Show.
So glad you're here still. We are the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. David Buck is here. He's my co-host, and I'm Pam Bright. I'm really happy that we are still together after the time that we have been together. And if you've been with me since the beginning, we started, I think, this show in April. So we're almost to the end of 2021. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness. So wherever you're at right now in December 23rd of this year, it's perfect, even if it doesn't feel like it. And I invite you to let go of your expectations about who you're supposed to be, the obligations that you think are supposed to happen for you, right? We all have obligations and we all have expectations because we're human, right? And you can always self-correct, self-course correct, whatever your trajectory is. If it's not going well and you feel like you're stuck, make a course correction.
Yeah, I think we could probably do an entire episode on the emotional intelligence aspect of, just being yourself for yourself without the expectations of others, and look at that. Like, honestly, one of the things we could do to evolve as a species is look at the damage that expectations do, and how can we navigate that in the future? Because, from a work standpoint, there's performance. So you might have performance expectations, but it's these emotional connections, expectations, and meeting that. It's a tricky balance too.
Yeah. Well, it also reminds me of, with obligations and expectations, guess what goes with that a lot of times? Blame. So what happens when I do this? if I'm pointing at you, guess which fingers are pointing back at me, right?
Yeah.
So remember that these 3 fingers that are pointing back at you, that's the invitation, is that you look at you first.
Yeah. And we can also do a whole episode probably on assumptions as well. So that's another thing.
Yes.
So I mentioned that, what can you look forward to after the holidays? Well, there's a new year coming, and the new year brings with it an opportunity. Not that there isn't an opportunity any day of the year to do this, to renew, rejuvenate, refresh, revitalize your approach to life. Maybe it's more spiritual. Maybe it's more of a connection. Maybe it's more giving. Maybe you find the ways that you can correct some things that you are done with and you don't want to carry around with you anymore.
Well, yes, in the next couple of weeks, New Year's Eve is known for releasing ceremonies for a lot of people. So it's an invitation again to release the last year, right? So December 31st, a lot of people do that. And then New Year's Day is a new beginning, a fresh new beginning.
Brand new.
Next week, which is the 30th, I think. I think next Thursday is the 30th, and I'm going to bring Brian Rawls back. We're going to talk about his experience with this divine diva that has just come into reign. He will share with you all about that. We talked about it last time on the Language of Light show, and we're going to talk again about that. He's my special guest, and we always want to connect with you. So if you want to connect after this show, you can go to the empowermeshow@gmail.com and talk to David or I. If you want to be a special guest as well, please let us know, because we'd love to have you on any of the episodes that we have here. If you want to get a hold of me and find out about more services, go to brightbutterflyenterprises.com. And you can also reach David through that same link and just let me know, hey, I want to talk to David and get some of his advice and some of his expertise about whatever is happening for you. He's available too.
So just a couple of days before Christmas, we're going to wrap up here the episode in a couple of minutes. But so we wish you a Merry Christmas if that's what you celebrate. Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and really any other tradition that you celebrate, including your right to not abstain from that kind of thing. If you feel like you are trying to get through the holidays, we hope that you will find some moments in there to just enjoy those quiet snow falling moments as you can, and know that there's something on the other side of it. But ideally, this is a great time for family and connection and really celebrating the reasons we're here.
Well, I put winter solstice on the invitation to today. So many of you have celebrated winter solstice, which is the changing of the seasons. So we are now going into winter full on. We've been in autumn. We're now going into winter. So it is the time of reflection, going within, the big bear. So bring the bear energy in as you huddle down into your core and remember who you are and rejuvenate yourself for the coming months. We absolutely love you. And we are thrilled that you have chosen to be with us for the last hour.
I want to say one more thing for the benefit of the future of peace on earth and goodwill toward men, which is consider if you're one of those people that embraces all diversity and all cultures and the ways of living and the ways of expressing spiritual connections, that's fantastic. It's not as if that's the only or right way to be. But if you're one of those people that looks at another religion, for instance, and says, well, maybe they don't have the same values as I do. Consider that, because they grow up different, they learn different. It may be valid for them. So consider, for the future of peace on earth, each individual's validity. We still have to find a way to not hurt each other. But, in the world of spiritual approaches, it's really individual. So there's billions of valid ways to experience spirituality.
That's right. And you may learn something from that person that you don't like. Consider that.
Yeah.
Remember that Jesus loved his enemies.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave you with that.
Happy holidays from the Empower Me Show, and we'll see you again very soon.
We love you. Mwah. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.